I'm Joseph Brooks, and this is Lawyer in the Kitchen. Kitchen. Today we're going to make chicken tikka masala. And I got to tell you, this is my absolute, of all the things, and I love Indian food, but this is my favorite food, which is so interesting because no one's quite sure it actually traces back to India, because apparently there's a story that essentially came from the UK, and apparently in Scotland there was this guy who had some chicken who claimed it was dry, and the waiter or the owner of the restaurant went back to the kitchen and they put some tomato soup in it, which of course there is in this dish. There's tomato puree and some spices, and came back and the guy goes, "This is fantastic." That was like in the 1970s. So this is not an ancient dish, but it's quite a wonderful dish. And you know what? It's very easy to make at home. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut up some skinless, boneless chicken thighs, and we're going to marinate those in essentially the same sauce minus the pureed tomatoes and a couple other things for about 45 minutes to an hour. Now, a lot of people will cook this with chicken breasts, but I prefer and a lot of people do, prefer the dark meat, the thighs, because one, it'll absorb the marinade faster. Two, it's easier to cook. Three, I've never made a chicken breast yet that I was proud of. I cook a lot, but I'm telling you, it's like brisket should be the hardest thing to make on the earth, and I feel comfortable making those. But a chicken breast, I can't cook it. I sous vide it. I've done everything you can do with chicken breast. But chicken thighs, they are almost always moist. If you got them cooked, they're easy to cook, plenty, and they're great. Now, the spices that are in here is garam masala, and this is cool. I found this at an Indian restaurant. And the good thing about this particular hot chili powder is that it's Kashmiri. Have no idea if that's how you say it, not a clue. But I got this at an Indian market, and what it helps do is give you that red look to the sauce along with the puree. And of course this helps color is the turmeric, great taste. That's fantastic. And then I don't have those. I've got from the same market, but I've got just regular coriander seed, which I'm going to grind. And then I've got cumin seed that has been ground. Now those are the main spices. We've got plain Greek yogurt. We've got heavy whipping cream. We've got ginger, and of course onion. And then we're gonna grind in here, and then we'll finish this off with puree and cream when we're finished, and we'll bring this thing. It's a very simple dish, really. It's not that hard to make. It's a fun dish to make.
Garam masala.
All right.
2 teaspoons.
Okay. Put that in.
We have turmeric. We have
cumin.
We have Kashmiri hot stuff.
Chili pepper.
Freshly ground
Ginger. Yes.
Not Marianne.
No.
Teaspoon of salt.
It's a 3-hour tour.
And some freshly chopped up garlic.
You mix that all up.
And make the marinade for the chicken. It's going to marinate for about
30 to 45 minutes.
30 to 45 minutes.
But some people say 10 minutes is good enough if you're using the thighs instead of the chicken breasts. But good 30 to 45 minutes, I think, is fine.
Is there ever a time where marinating it too long is a bad thing?
If it's got sugar in it, potentially, it'd be too sweet. Sometimes.
It can never be too sweet.
There's that.
Okay.
All right. So we'll cut up the chicken thighs into cubes, and we'll put this together and marinate in the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes. Thank you, sous chef.
My pleasure. So while you're in the kitchen, can I tell you one thing that I like about this particular dish? I know it's one of your favorites. I also like it, but I like it because when it's served, the chicken is already in bite-sized pieces.
That's correct.
You don't have to have a fork and a knife.
You don't.
Just a fork and or spoon to eat the dish.
That's correct.
It's one of my favorite things about it.
So we're gonna do that now. We're gonna cut these into nice bite-sized chunks. And you could do this in different ways, but this works. You could cut, if you're cool and are great with a knife, you could cut 3 or 4 at a time. Like if you could set them like this, kind of like you're cutting carrots or onions. See, that looks like you know what you're doing.
Do you know what you're doing?
I don't.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut it this way. And that's how we do that. We'll do that with the rest of them. So we've cut up several chicken thighs, and this is really more than the recipe calls for. This is almost twice, but we don't care. We're going to eat this later. Anyhow, this is enough marinade. So we're going to just put this in, rub this all around. Like I said, 30 to 45 minutes. We don't waste any of this. We're taking that right off that spoon. And just let that sit. And we have enough to cover it all, as you see. We're going to cover this with some saran wrap, or whatever you call that stuff, plastic wrap, and then we're going to put this in the fridge 30, 45 minutes. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start the spices for the sauce. And, you know, if you had all just like, this is coriander seed, this would be better because you could freshly grind this. And, you know, in some dishes, you would actually want to grind all of these things and then put them in the pan and roast them or toast them, and that'll make them even more aromatic. And my wife is laughing. I don't know.
Roast or toast?
Roast or toast.
Roast or toast.
Roast or toast. Okay, so.
Well, those are two different things at a dinner party.
Okay, well, possibly. Anyhow, so we're going to put the coriander in here, about a teaspoon. Now, these would never, this is the only thing in there, it would never grind up. So what we're going to do is go ahead and put the garam masala in there, and the turmeric in there. And let's go ahead and put, I don't know what this is. Actually, that's turmeric. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grind this all together. Okay, so we have everything ground up. We're going to save this for last, the Kashmiri pepper. We're going to put the garlic in here. And we're going to put some onions in here. And we'll go ahead and put the ginger. This is nicely grated ginger. We're going to put that in there. And we have everything except the Kashmiri pepper, which we're going to add last, but we're going to do that to taste. And then, of course, we're going to use the cilantro to garnish. We're also going to put this is another set of chopped onions, not chopped much, these are chunks. And then we're going to put a little bit of salt in here, but we'll wait to add any more salt than that until we're done because we want to taste it. The chicken that is absolutely, it's been in there 45 minutes. And it's sealed up, plastic wrap. And, if you could smell this. This is already, it's there. You know what, it's there. We're gonna get our pan. We're gonna use, I like to cook with olive oil a lot, unless I'm doing real high temperature. Then you're gonna wanna use something else like a vegetable oil, and this is canola oil. But this doesn't impart a lot of flavor, and so we don't wanna have olive oil affect the taste of this great dish. So we're gonna pour this in. That's gonna get us started. I'm gonna put this on and get this nice and warm. So if you'll notice this is a very specific thing to chicken tikka masala, that if you put the foil back here like this, it changes the heat. So it comes into the pan in a completely different way, which gives you exactly the right sear on this chicken.
Nuh-uh.
No. I put this on here because we just cleaned the stove and I don't want a bunch of stuff spattering all over the rest of the stove.
And your sous chef appreciates that.
There you go. We got the oil getting hot. You can see this. If you come down here, you can see it separate. Everybody can see that. It's getting nice and warm. Now, this is not a scorching, like a searing a steak kind of thing. We just want to put a nice brown on this meat. We're going to do it in batches, and we need to add more oil as required. And then we'll put this in the pan, and we should be good. Now, the best way to do this is just stick your hands in it. And you got a nice sizzle, so you know it's good. We're separating this now. We're browning this. We're not trying to cook this all the way through because we're going to cook it through when we have the sauce in there. All right, we've got the chicken all cooked. Now, it's not cooked completely. We just put a little browning on it, and we've got all these bits on the bottom of this. Come on, show this here. This is nice. Look at this. This looks great. Okay, That's flavor. Now, some people wouldn't do this, but we are, and a lot of people would, because this is where a lot of flavor is. So we're gonna pour, you hear that? That's gonna help pull that off the bottom. And we're gonna cook this long enough that that liquid's gonna go out. We're not gonna worry about it. So we're gonna put our flame back on. Meanwhile, we got our rice going. By the way, if you want to learn how to do rice perfectly, I learned how to do this in Teddy's Chop Suey restaurant in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, when I was a helicopter pilot 1,000 years ago. And this is a great recipe. So see our recipe for that. We have a video on this. Okay, now it's time to put in our onion, our garlic, our turmeric, our garam masala, our cumin, our coriander seeds, ginger, and everything else we add. Onion. We're gonna add that. And time to put our tomato puree in there. Okay, so I've got the sauce all mixed together. Everything is in the sauce right now except for the cream. Now the cream will tone down the heat a little bit, but we got to test for heat first before we add any more heat. So we'll get us a nice spoon. It's gonna be good. Not hot yet. Oh, hotter than I thought. It's got a little heat to it right now. That's from the marinade. Okay, so we're just gonna add a pinch, just a little bit of the crispy, or whatever the name of that chili pepper is, we're gonna add that. We're just gonna do this with the cashmere. And like I told you, this is a ton. We like a little hot. I think we're gonna do this and we'll see where that is, and we'll taste that, and then we'll put the chicken in a little bit. So we got a fresh spoon, taste this, make sure we got a nice heat level we're comfortable with. All right, so I put another pinch in, and I'll try this right over here. That's, you gotta wait. Wait for it. Yeah, that's it. I'm a little bit more. I'm sweating already, so I know it's close. It's just when I'm pouring down, I know I got it right. All right, so this is the last check, I think, on heat. Oh, it's plenty hot. It's not too hot to ruin everything, but it's nice and hot. So now we're gonna add the chicken and all those juices that are on that plate. And we're gonna add a little bit of butter because that's gonna make it nice. This chicken tikka masala is getting very close to being done. All we'll do is put this over rice or with rice and add some cilantro. All right, we cook this, let it simmer for about a good 10 to 15 minutes. The onions are not translucent, so they're just exactly where we want them. Now we're gonna add some cream, which is gonna add some more flavor to this. It's gonna add a little more richness to it, and you're gonna see this turn a little on the orange side, which is gonna look just right. And that is chicken tikka masala with basmati rice. Thank you for coming to Lawyer in the Kitchen.